Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, let me just say that I'm incredibly privileged to have met Mr. Christopher in the flesh after such a long time. And today I'm going to interview a little bit to get to know more about what it's like to be a teacher as part of my assignment for Pengurusan Pembelajaran. First of all, sir, I would like to thank you for having given me this opportunity to interview you. Thank you so much, sir. First of all, sir, just for those who might not know you, obviously I am well aware of your legend, but then can you please just explain to the people who are you, what is your name and your credentials, some of your credentials?
Okay, my name is Christopher. So this year is 2023, and this is my 30. I started teaching in 1991. 33. This is my 32nd year of teaching. Okay, I'm going to complete my 32 years of teaching, and so all these years, for the past 30 years, I was teaching in government schools, and this is my first, second, third, fourth school. Okay, and I've been here at St. Michael's here for the past 15 years. Okay, my subject I'm teaching Pembelajaran business studies. Studies for the past 15 over years. Okay, at St. Michael's here and also in my previous school. And I like my teaching job. So besides my teaching, I'm also involved in the co-curricular activities. I'm a teacher advisor, or shall I say, pemimpin penangkap. Okay, the Scout Master of St. Michael's Institution, the Scout Master of O2 Cinta Scout. So I'm very proud name in this epoch. Okay, everyone knows about St. Michael's. You know, St. Michael's is about Scouts. So I'm the Scout Master of the school, and I believe in teachers serving the boys together. Teachers and students together, we carry out activities together. It's not like teachers play the role of a teacher there, like for example, teacher just assign the form and teachers stay apart from the students. I believe that the teachers and students must come together and share together, cooperate together to carry on and come.
So, in your opinion, teachers should not just play a passive role in one's education, whereas they should also encourage the students to take a more active role in their own destinies, their own responsibilities.
That's right. So teacher must play a very active role in the students. I think teacher plays a very important role in the life of the student. Okay, what they plan for the future, okay, what they wanted to be, the ambition, the goals, the achievement that they want to achieve in their life. I think teacher play a substantial role. They draw the foundation for the students to achieve something within their life.
So, but then obviously there are some who critique this point of view, especially we can see this a lot in many schools. They say that, well, if that is so, then what about the actual responsibility of a student and not of a teacher, as in if all the students are to take their own decisions, what is left for a teacher to do in the context of administration in a school?
Okay, well, I see this way. I see when it comes to, for example, lesson in the class, I think we don't play the role of the whole system of school of teaching where teacher teaches and the student listens and students carry out activities. I think it's more like the participation of both parts, student and teacher together to carry out activities. So it's like sharing ideas together. In those days, the students are considered students because the assumption of students are not good, the teacher is better. Today, in many aspects, I think students, in many things, I think students are more well knowledgeable compared to teacher. For example, in this IT field, in social networking, for example, the students, the younger generation, I think they are more knowledgeable and they are more versatile compared to the teacher. We are very backward in certain aspects. Therefore, the knowledge of the teacher and the knowledge of the students must come together to carry out any activity, even in the teaching aspect.
So, sir, basically you are trying to imply that a two-way relationship among students and teachers is extremely necessary.
Definitely, two-way relationship. That's right. I agree with the point. Fantastic point. Okay, that's a fantastic point. It's a two-way relationship. It's not only like one-way relationship where the teacher teaches and the student listens. Okay, it's a modern life. It's the 21st century. 21st century is about the students are very knowledgeable and they are exposed to so many things. And sometimes I tend to feel that am I very backward compared to my students? I'm living my Jurassic age or what? This is what sometimes it gives me an impression, because when I share my things with my students, they are very far ahead of me in many aspects. Okay, I am only particularly expert in my field of studies. I did my business studies, and that's the field that I am good at. And what about the students? They are so diversified. Unlike me, that is why I say that it's a participation of both the parties.
Sir, just I know we were having a very nice conversation back then, but then just to slightly pull you back to your past, okay? I would like to ask you a little bit, just explain in very brief words exactly what was your schooling was like, as in where you went to school, which town.
Okay, I was from ACS Eco. Okay, I studied in ACS Eco. And that's my alma mater. Okay, now I understand.
So ACS boy is it?
Yeah, I'm ACS boy. Okay, those days we used to sing our song, school, our rally together in ACS. And when I come here, and I became a Michaelian. But deep in my heart, there's always my ACS in my heart there. I'm very proud of being an ACS student. And as I said, number of students from ACS are teaching here at St. Michael's here. Okay, and this is what I can say. And I think the school life in ACS gave me a wonderful life, because I was a teenager at that time, and that's the time I got to know many people from varieties, all types of races and religion. It's like intermingling with everyone, and we saw a united, I was in a united Malaysia at ACS in my school there, so there was no, there was a strong bond between us. And we don't see much difference in terms of, nothing separated us due to a race or religion or creed or whatever. It's all about, are you an ACS guy? Now let's go work together. So we studied together, we played together, so we had our laughter together, we played prank together, and finally we are successful.
So then, obviously, as you went along with the course of life, so obviously you went to your university and as such, higher education. So can you just tell me a little bit more about it?
After my Form 6, I went to Maktab Perguruan. Okay, I went to Maktab Perguruan, Persekutuan, Pulau Pinang M4P. I did teaching, I did the TESOL course, teaching in English, and that was in Penang. Okay, and then I was posted to a school in Teluk Intan, so I was there brief period in Teluk Intan. Then I continued further my studies in degree. Okay, and I was lucky, because at that time there was a course offered on a foreign degree where you do partly here and joint study there. And I took up the course. I did my studies there, and it was like a degree in business studies, something totally different from my diploma, my certificate or diploma that is in English. And then I became very much into business studies, and I took my degree in business studies. And finally I completed my degree in business studies, and I was posted to a secondary school, and for 25 over years I'm in secondary school.
Right. Thank you very much. So obviously for someone who is aspiring to be a teacher like me, and my fellow coursemate over here, so basically seeing you, we see like a big pool of experience that we can draw from, and hopefully we can gain a lot of insight from. So basically, sir, we would like to ask you a little bit more about the experience of students in the classroom aspect. All right, in the classroom aspect. So first of all, in the context of this schooling, how do we further instill a sense of leadership and ownership among students?
Okay, sense of belonging. Okay, sense of belonging of the students. So I think Can I talk about St. Michael's?
Yeah, please do, please.
Okay, I think I'm in the right school here because it befits my mindset, the way I think, the way I wanted how students, teachers should approach the student. And because in this school is a La Salle school, okay, La Salle school, we talk about La Salle values, okay, faith, zeal, community, where students must have a sense of belonging towards the school. Okay, we have to create the sense of belonging. So we have to make the students feel that they are part of the school, they belong to the school. The school doesn't provide them with just education alone. They bring the bag, they carry the bag to school, they just get some studies knowledge from the teacher, and then they go back home, and then they leave the school again. So it's not about that. School is part of their life, and they must love the school, they are part of the school, and they must have a sense of belonging towards the school, where there's a kind of what you call, I think, loyalty to the school. It begins in the class. I think at St. Michael's here, there's another, I'd just like to share a small thing there. On sports day, there is something, I think in whole Malaysia we don't have, only at St. Michael's, in Ipoh here we have this thing here, where they have an inter-class marching competition. I've been in Form 1, so okay, the top 3 classes, Form 2, the top 3 classes, Form 3, they are about altogether 9 classes, the top 3 classes. The students really work hard together. They kind of they show their best of the skills to emerge as the overall champion in the respective form. Okay, and I think that's where we build a sense of belonging, loyalty to the class, loyalty towards the class, and it grows into a loyalty to the school. I think this is a foundation for a student to be loyal to the country. It all begins here. I think the school lays the foundation. The loyal to your class, you become loyal to the school. And this sense of loyalty, when you go leave the school, when you go to the world, the real, when you start working, you become loyal to the nation. Once you become loyal to the country, I think you'll be very productive. You will do your best for the country, and this country will be a better country. It all begins in the school.
So in that sense of leadership and ownership inside this one school will instantly bring a sense of, instill the sense of leadership immediately inside students that can be practical.
I strongly believe in that. For example, I give you one example. I'm a scout master here, and really in this scout organization, this uniform body here at St. Michael's is not about what you call marching. The scout is not about marching. It's a wholesome. Okay, where they learn. Falsa Pendidikan Negara talks about intellect, rohani, emosi, and jasmani. And this is what we build here. We build the intellectual strength, we build the emotional, we build the spiritual, we build the physical, and to create a wholesome, a complete person. And this scout organization here, we are actually producing a wholesome person, a complete person, a person which is what you call needed by the country. And I think co-curricular activities, the involvement of students in co-curricular activities play a very important role in creating leadership quality in them. Once they have created leadership quality in the school, they will be a great leader in the country, in their company, in their organizations, wherever they are, in the political party or even companies, wherever they are.
So let me just read based on some of these questions here, because obviously now the talk is getting very interesting, so I would like to prompt you with some more interesting questions. Also, in your experience as a teacher, obviously from a teacher's perspective we learn, and then obviously we have to get stationed elsewhere, probably even somewhere completely different from our places, like like what you say, Sabah and Sarawak. So for example, obviously these different places, they have different norms to what we are adjusted to, what we are accustomed to. So therefore, I would like to draw from your pool of experience again and just ask you, what were the changes in the norms that you experienced in your duration as a teacher?
Okay, I think this goes back to my first experience as a teacher, and I was first posted in a very rural area school in Padanatu, okay, Ladang Kuala Pernah. So it's a very interior school, it's a rural school, and in the beginning I was quite confused. I was thinking, oh my God, am I going to do? It is so very interior, very far away from town life, and we are pushed to a very deep jungle there. But I think actually I learned a lot about life, quality of life, quality teacher. Okay, this is where you can really apply your teaching skills there, right? Building the children wherever they are, or whoever they are, Okay, so everyone is equal in the eyes of the teacher, whether the student is the best of the schools, okay, the best residential schools, or in the deepest jungle, in the deepest rural area. I think everyone is a student. It's the responsibility of every teacher to impart as much of knowledge, build their character, build their knowledge, and to create a future human, a future humanity. Okay, masa depan negara is in the hands of a teacher. I think wherever they are posted, they must accept it wholeheartedly, because every experience, every situation is a new experience for them, and where they can build their experience and also build their character and develop themselves. I think that's very important. Why I just would like to advise to other teachers, the future young men like you, don't worry where you are being posted. Okay, you must be very proud, very happy you are posted, in fact, very far away in the interior jungles. Okay, because this is where you can really apply all the talents, all the skills that you have generated all these years in your school life, and to the students, and to build them up, and to give to raise them up as a great Malaysian one.
So, sir, as we have noticed, like in this past maybe 10 to 15 years, education as a whole has seen a tremendous change. Right? We have seen like the advent of like technology, and we have seen like basically from last time a teacher would use maybe a physical medium to impart knowledge, to now we are seeing the rise of electronical components and like such as presentations, and all that's becoming very common in our pedagogic lifestyle. And then also nowadays with the advent of AI tools. So I would just like to know your opinion as an experienced educator yourself. Has it brought a radical change to our education system at large, and I would just like to know your opinion. Is it like a harm versus good thing, or I would just like to know your opinion.
I think the advent of the modern education system, where what is AI, the artificial intelligence comes into the picture. I think teachers, they have to educate themselves. They have to keep abreast of the latest development. So they have to educate themselves in order to impart the knowledge to the students, so that students can really, when they enter the world of working world, they are more prepared. They are better prepared. I think that's where it comes in, that every teacher, they must build their knowledge. They must improve their knowledge in the field of every IT field, so that they can give the latest knowledge, latest technical aspect of the knowledge to the students, so that they can they can help prepare the students to face the real world. Okay, and that's what comes in, and I think that's the challenges for all the teachers in the world, not only in Malaysia, in the whole world. You have to raise up your improve your knowledge in this IT field. Because that is the work, that is the future.
So basically, also there are concerns. I'll just cite some concerns here, where there could be basically, if we can see it in the universities also, there are rise of anti-AI tools that are designed to basically see if one is using these tools like maliciously, with malicious intent, as in straight up plagiarizing. So most traditional teachers who come from the conservative mindset would say that these tools are like basically technology in education can lead to students not truly understanding the content of what is being taught, and instead merely just applying it as a medium to just get decent grades. So I would again just...
No, I don't agree with that, with these teachers. You know why? Because all these tools, these IT-based tools, artificial intelligence, actually it is helping the students to have more, to get a richer knowledge, to improve themselves at a faster pace. What you can learn in 5 years, you can learn in 1 year. With these tools called IT, the information technology. This information technology, what it takes for you to learn before the advent of technology, information technology, say in the 1970s or 80s, 1970s, 80s or 90s, it took 3 years for you. Now with this technology, you can learn in 1 year. Okay, so whatever, like for example, I'm teaching STPM classes, Pembelajaran Pembelajaran. So most of the information, if you want to go deeper, you want to know much more about certain particular topic, you can just go through the Google and you can find as much as possible information there. I think living aside, and it's a kind of, there should not be a fear there. Of course, every new things you introduce a new thing, there's always a fear factor there. But this is that, you have to overcome all the fear factor there in order to to what you call. That's why I say, whatever you can learn in 5 years, you can learn in 1 year with the advent of this latest technology. So we must welcome the technology. So whatever, it depends on us how we use it. You use it positively or negatively. Okay, you accept the good and reject the bad. That's it. Okay, yeah? So just like television, okay, you just keep watching and watching in front of the screen. You're not doing anything. It's going to cause havoc in your life. The same thing happens here. Choose what is right and go for it. And I strongly believe, I strongly support the introduction of IT in all the subject, IT based, okay, which is a great tool for students to improve, to become a better student. I really support that. Oh, and I'm improving on it also because I'm not very good at it. Of course, I know my students are better than me.
Then, okay sir, I will bring in my perspective for the next question. Alright, I've been an SPTM student myself. I've studied under your class also in Pembelajaran, and in that subject, in many subjects rather, in the Malaysian education system, there is this need to follow a certain scheme when you are answering the questions, whereas say your answer is a correct answer, but if it does not follow the flow of a certain answer given system, that answer will most probably will not be rejected, or it's up to the discretion of the person who marks the paper, of a teacher that marks. So obviously, when I was in STPM, me and many of my peers, we simply had a lot of basically we complained against the system a lot, quite a lot. So basically, since you teach that subject, and I'm aware that of course you have many other colleagues who are teaching subjects that have these schemes. I again like to know your opinion.
Like for example, I think the schema, we have to follow exactly the schema actually. That one subject, I think really outshines the other subjects. Pengajaran
Exactly.
Pengajaran is one subject, like write an essay. Whatever schema given, the fakta is not following your fakta. The schema given, your fakta is not following the schema, then the marks are not given. For me, my personal view is we have to train the students to give the right answer. I believe that Majlis Pembelajaran Malaysia or Lembaga Pembelajaran Malaysia or Malaysian Ministry of Education, I strongly believe the Ministry of Education is as helping the students to walk in the right track. So the scheme is the right track. Of course, there are so many tracks. If you want to go to for example, from here, if you want to walk to Ipoh Padang, there are so many tracks to go to Ipoh Padang there. There's one track which is simple, which is practical, which is relevant. Is the track from St. Michael to there. You can just follow the same track there. Okay, and I strongly believe that this scheme helps to straighten the student systems and put them in the right order, put them in the right track. Okay. Of course, I was a student before. Those days I did my STPM, I did my SPM. But I used to quite disagree. When we give an answer and the teacher will say, ini keluar, ini tak patuhi skema, so markah tak boleh dibagi. So but coming after so many years of teaching, I come to realize that they're setting up a track for you to follow. Okay, they're saying that, hey, come back to that same track, don't deviate yourself outside that. And we are helping you to follow the right track. That's it. The other tracks it's not that they are not right. Other tracks are not relevant to our age of questions. Yeah, that's the thing.
So, like the rationale is there to have a standardized scheme.
Standardized scheme for everybody, because if you ask me one question, there are so many thousands and thousands of answers. but students are trained to think according to a particular scheme, school, a particular way of thinking. I think actually I strongly believe that this helps the students to put them right.
I hope you are okay with the interview.
No problem. I enjoy the interview.
Also, sir, we often see this also not just in SMI in general, but we also see this in the education system throughout this nation of ours, where the concept of education for all is a highly propagated concept, as in all of the citizens of this country, regardless of race, religion, creed, or any such differing factors, they are capable, and also they are certainly worthy of getting an education, of getting an honorable education, and also to move forward inside life. So, seemingly that you are always, you work in a school. Obviously, you know the ins and outs of what happens in a school. So, I would just like to ask you, to what extent is this concept truly being upheld in these schools?
Okay, education for all. So, education for all, you talk about in terms of students and teacher relationship?
Oh, no. As in, like, say, regardless of, I would say factors like socio-economic factors, such things.
Okay.
Access to education.
Oh, access to education. I think I also propagate strongly, have a strong conviction, okay, in the belief that education is for everyone. Okay, whether one is working, say for example, even a housewife. An educated housewife will be always a better housewife. An educated housewife will be a better mom to his children. So education is it's a necessity, just like food. And I think everybody, every country, every nation in the world must promote education among all its citizens. The more educated the citizens are, the more developed the country is. And I think the citizens are more matured. Okay, citizens will be more matured, and the more educated they are, and the lesser, the easier we can overcome the problems of humanity. And I don't know, I go for this thing that I believe in. There should not be a war in the world. I think in order to overcome the war, we must educate the public. We must educate everybody, okay, about the sins of the war, so that they will not be diverted into warring with another nation. So it's all education is like fundamental to build a peaceful, global peace.
So basically those were like the importance of education, I would say. But as in pertaining to like the students coming inside the school, and then they're basically having basically to get an education in a way that does not strain one's financial background and all that, does not really involve it. Do you see any initiatives being took inside this school? For example, in SMI specifically, do you see any? Have you personally seen any initiatives being taken in order to alleviate financial burdens of students?
Yes, definitely. St. Michael's here, especially in this school, where this is a Lasallian school. Okay, so what we do, we get the students' background. Okay, every class teacher is supposed to identify the students who are from the lower economic background, lower economic, socio-economic background students, and so we collect the names of the students. We give to the counselors, and the counselors will collect the number of the names of the students who are from the lower socio-economic background. And what we do is this St. Michael's. St. Michael is basically what you call more like welfare, social service. We do a lot of social service, and we give students what you call, for example, certain
Scholarship.
No, I won't. Not scholarship.
Financial aid.
Financial aid to the students. okay, through our bodies, some important bodies connected to the school, the important communities connected to the school. For example, the Parent Teachers Association, the old Michaelians, okay, the board of governors. So all these bodies play a very important role in giving financial aids, and the former students, for example, the class of 90, the class of 87, the class of 2020. So this group of students, what they do, they collect okay, fund among the members, okay, of their age group, and they give the school to be given to the students who are very, very poor. Okay, in fact, even during COVID season period, and many poor students, they were given the basic what you call raw materials, like rice and sugar and milk and all those things. So these are all provided by the old students, the old Michaelian Association under the OMA, and the students of St. Michael's who are already successful in their life. Many of the boys here are very successful in their life, and this school produces very successful people. And so once they are very successful, they come back to school and they do their part in serving the students. And this is how they select the very poor students and lower socio-economic background, and they give them financial aids, they give them basic needs for them.
Okay, sir. My follow-up question to this would be like, also regarding the students of lower socio-economic background. I would like to ask you, based on your experience, right, sir, do these economic factors play an important role, or does it even play a role in the performance of a student in school, or also, if I could add, in the way that student socializes in school with other members of the school community, such as teachers, even like the canteen person, for example? Do these socio-economic factors that limit the students, does it actually play a role in the performance of the students?
I think, yeah, we should not let such things, they are from a poor economic background, socio-economic background, low economic background, we should not let such factors to be a hindrance for them, in their daily life in the school. If they are from a very poor background, they can't afford to buy books or workbooks, and therefore they can't perform well in their studies. So this should not be a factor, a let-down factor for them. I think this is where, as what I said earlier, the main community which is related to the school comes into the picture. So they have to do their part. The former students, the Parent Teacher Association, the board, okay, and all these people, they have to do their part in helping the students overcome to fulfill their needs, the education needs. We cannot let such people go astray and become poor, even backward in their education. I think we should not let that happen, because if we don't take any action, this is what will happen to them. So they'll be neglected. So we must not let them neglected. This is a Salin school, and we don't neglect anybody. So everyone is part of the school, and everyone is part of the family of Salin, and we must always help them, give them a hand, and raise them up so that they become, they can shine in the world.
So, sir, in terms of the social skills of students pertaining to, again, these lower socio-economic background students, people of these backgrounds, their social skills, as a teacher yourself, obviously you interact with with hundreds of students per day. So I would assume that you are a good judge of character in terms of their social skills. So in terms of their social skills, do you notice anything, or like there is a certain reluctance, or I would just...
Yeah, there are cases, but I think in this school here, since everyone is treated equally, so they don't feel they are neglected, they don't feel they are left behind, and they play their part equally as the other students do. I think they are very lucky indeed to be in this school, because those from the lower socio-economic background are not neglected, and they are given equal treatment, and they get all the benefits that any other students get. I think they are lucky to be studying in this school, because they are equal like any other students, whether they are better off student, or everybody is equal, and St. Michael is providing the space for.
So, from what I could obtain is basically that these students, they are not basically in this school specifically, the chances of them feeling different because of these factors is not something that is at all in the fabric or in the culture of the school at all.
It's not in the culture of the school. Because if they feel left out due to their economic background, social background, we identify them and we give whatever necessary help to them so that they can overcome their problem. So once we give them a hand, we help them, and definitely we can see them standing on par with any other students.
So in that way, the school is actually enabling them to live a more dignified life.
That's exactly, because this is what we strongly believe in this Masani school, where we really care for the students and the welfare of the students. Okay, nobody is neglected because of their socio-economic background. Everybody is equal, and that is what the school is teaching the students. And we hope that these students, one day they become an adult, they practice the same thing in their life.
So, sir, I would like to basically I would like to move on to a different segment. Basically, I would like to focus on in-class experience that you have experienced, that you have been a part of as a teacher. So, firstly, I would like to ask, what style of teaching do you use, or what is something that you would like to describe is your style of teaching?
For me, I believe in student participation. Okay, students giving their views, students' knowledge and my knowledge sharing together in lesson in my class. I think basically it's because I'm teaching higher level students. Okay, and they have already completed the SPM, and they are actually, academically they are above average. Yeah, they sound and they are above average, and they are good. So therefore, I think this style of method of teaching, where the total participation of teacher and students together, in a subject matter, I think it really works. And primary school, I doubt where it will work, where we give total freedom for the students because they are lacked a lot of knowledge there. I think in a situation where you are teaching higher level students, I think the students' knowledge and the teacher's knowledge comes together in every lesson.
So, I would say that although you are a big proponent of a more hands-on or laissez-faire approach in terms of teaching, you still believe that the style of teaching where one teacher basically states and also teaches like in the more traditional sense is still holds its importance even in the modern world.
Correct, exactly. So the old traditional teacher is still relevant today. Because in one class there might be a student who excels. There is a student who is a bit backward, and for these backward students you need one-to-one attention. You need more traditional style of teaching. For a student who is more very versatile, slightly better, I think you can apply a laissez-faire style of teaching. And for those students who are very, very weak, I think you have to apply more like the traditional way of teaching. So I think we have to, a good teacher should be able to balance between traditional and modern method in order to achieve the objectives, aims and objectives. That is menyampaikan lesson. They have to use all kinds of methods.
So as a teacher, what I can sense is that as an advice to the younger teachers is that we should apply contingency in whatever we do, and also
don't stick to one particular. Don't be rigid with one particular methodology of teaching. So you have to apply various methods. You have to enrich yourself. That's where your knowledge and experience comes in. So once you enrich yourself with the knowledge, you'll be able to apply the different methodology to the students. The ultimate aim is achieving your objectives, aims and objectives of the lesson. In order to achieve your aims and objectives, you have to use various approaches, not necessarily stick to one particular approach.
Alright, sir. Basically, and also now I would like to move on to basically the emotions of a teacher inside class. So I've been obviously like being a student. You're not you're very exposed to teachers, and then there are times when of course teachers are humans as well, and then the emotions can also come high or what during can also run high during any classroom or what during in a classroom setting. So I would like to ask you, sir, how do you keep your emotions in check whilst you are teaching?
Okay, I think you're right. Huh? I think because teachers are also, they also have, they also, also all the problems. I mean, all the situations in life. Okay, they are also an ordinary human being. Okay, we are not somewhere we didn't come fall down from heaven. Okay, teachers are normal people, and they also have the ups and downs. Certain days, they are very, very what you call dynamic, and certain days they are not in the right mood. They are emotionally troubled due to some family background, okay, or any other problems in their life. Children, the family, they have come from the family, and of course, okay, I think this is where I think the teachers, even the students, and the teachers, I think they have to play a role of what do you call group. What do you call I can't get right with the sense of understanding. Okay, you must understand symbiotic relationship between the students and the teachers. Okay, of course, we are ordinary beings, and but when it comes to imparting our knowledge to the students, we must know very well that students are the main priority. Students are the main priority. So I think we have to leave aside temporarily our feelings and our hot temperedness, our emotions temporarily when we concentrate on our students in our class. Okay, so because that is why we are come to school. We are here. Okay, we are here. We are doing work. We are doing a job as a teacher, is to teach the students, and that should not hinder our emotional problems. Should not be a hindrance to our teaching. But must always remember that teachers are also normal human beings, and they also have all the things in life.
Okay, sir. That was the precaution, I would say. Like, what should a teacher do in order to keep the emotions in check? Now, as a person who's about to hopefully will one day become a teacher also, I would like to ask if the emotions have already run high, the milk has already been spilled and all that. So, what does one do in order to rectify as best as he can the situation? A bit complex, but
a bit complex, okay. Yeah. I would say I put it this way. I think that's why in my situation, that's why my involvement with my students, not only in the academic part of the school, the co-curricular part of the school comes in. Okay, in the co-curricular part, I involve myself in my scout boys, and I leave behind all my teaching problems behind, and when I go with the boys. The other day, I think last week, my boys went for King Scouts. They wanted to chop banana trunk. They asked me, I said, hey, come, let's go. I brought my old car, and we went to the jungle there, and I chopped banana trunk together with my boys, put it in my car and brought it here. So, people might be thinking that what is this guy doing a laborer's job? Is he a laborer or is he a teacher? But I think this way comes in, when you have when you are with the boys in co-curricular activities, like for example, I just told you earlier, chopping the banana trunk and then bring it to school and help them, in the exam, in the King's Court exam. I think this is a holistic approach where not necessarily, your duty is not only to teach, it's not academic alone, it's a holistic. So once you involve yourself in every aspect of the student's growth, not only in aspect of knowledge, academic achievement, I think you will not have any problems, even with your emotional problems, even if you're an ordinary human being, all emotional problems. I think your total involvement in building the students in every aspect, not only teaching alone in the class, but also in the co-curricular activity outside, will make you a better teacher. And although, will make you a better teacher, and I think every teacher should play a very important role in building the character, not only in teaching part of the school.
So from what I could understand from your explanation, by the way, is that um, teachers teachers should basically not even allow said situation from occurring, and also improving oneself in a way that makes one more approachable to students.
That's right, exactly. So I think that's correct. That's another thing. Okay, they have to. I think they have to find a solution. Okay, so that's what we are teaching the teachers for. Find a solution. Okay, and how to overcome our problems so that it does not hinder our teaching in our class. And one way, in my part, my experience is involving with my students in the co-curricular activities. Okay, and this is how I create a bond with my students, close the gap with my students. And even though sometimes I'm a little bit tempered at that moment, certain moment, sometimes emotionally high, and I can overcome my problems because of my involvement in non-academic matters in the school.
Sir, I would also ask, like, basically teachers, we are mediums of conveying knowledge to students. As such, for the majority of our work, it must consist interacting with the students on a very regular basis. So in that, I would say that it's incredibly important for a teacher to be seen as approachable to a student, so that the students can be vulnerable emotionally with the teachers. So I would like to ask, how is it that a teacher can reach that stage where a student is patient enough or open enough to explain those problems, or also explain any complexity that one might face?
That's right. I think this is once again my Lasalin connection here comes into picture. Because here we talk about the teacher-student relationship is like a parent and son's relationship, like a father and son, like a mother and daughter relationship. Okay, so if you treat your student like your own child, your own son or own daughter, if you can close the gap, okay, break the ice and close the gap between the students, I think we can solve many issues, discipline matters in the school. Okay, everywhere. Many of the discipline masters becomes uncontrollable because there is a big gap between the teacher and the student. I think the teacher finds a way, a method to close the gap and to build a bridge between the teacher and the student. I think many of the social problems, the illness in the school among the students can be avoided. The teacher has to play a role not only in teaching but also as a counselor, doctor, as a motivator, and as a spiritual master. Everything. Okay, you are the role model of every aspect. You are a spiritual master. You are a teacher. You are a coach. Okay, you are a sportsman. Okay, and where the students look up to you to build the character. And I think in this way you will close the gap. You become you treat them as your own daughter or son. At the end of the day, I think. They will be emotionally more stable, and it's a better word.
Yeah. Sir, so in that, what I could understand is basically students, they also, when they come to school, they are basically exploring a realm of life outside of the influence of their parents, or also any influences back home, and so they are free to explore or experience new influences. So in that, obviously their sense of self, then like their varied character, it is prone or malleable to change. So I would like to ask, how in the setting of a school, also specifically SMI, you can answer, their sense of self increases, and also whereby it encompasses various points of view?
I think the teacher also plays a role of what I said earlier. In helping students to develop emotional stability. Okay, where they must give some freedom for the students to express themselves. Okay, so there must be a certain amount of freedom for them to express themselves. So once they're able to express themselves, they can open their heart, and they will be more stable. I think. Okay, if we don't listen to them, if we don't listen to the students, probably the students will not grow emotionally they will not become a stable person. So you have to, every teacher must let the students express themselves freely. Okay, of course, within a certain
Within a certain limit, of course.
certain limits, of course, and they must give them a space for them to use. You give them a little bit space. Okay, if they make some pranks, some little bit of naughty things, don't immediately sack them from school. Wrong scholar and all those things. I don't believe in that. Even the Vasan values, I don't believe in wrong scholar of students, because the value of the Vasan value is the Vasan school is about. They say that every student is like a gem, it's like a diamond, and they don't shine because the community around didn't do their responsibility. The parents, the teachers, okay, their friends, and the community didn't respond to their job. It's just like a diamond that the more you polish, the more it shines. So some doesn't shine, not because they are not shining, because the people around they didn't do the job of polishing them. And I think that this is where the role of a teacher comes in. So you polish your boy, you polish the student so that they shine. They are not shining, not because they are not shining, because you didn't do your responsibility in polishing them properly so that they can shine.
Heavy-handed conversations. You have to refer this and notes also, because gone a bit, it became more than just description. Just as a end note, because I feel like whatever questions that we did ask it was basically most of it, even the answers already encompass several questions. So I will reach right to the end. I will reach right to the end. I would like to ask you, just to cap all of this off, this brilliant conversation that we had, what ultimately, when it comes down to it, is a teacher's biggest responsibility?
I think the teacher's biggest responsibility is
No, we just had it out lah.
How many minutes do?
52. I've been standing here for 50 minutes guys.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
We just do this one part of it. So basically, ultimately, when it comes down to it, what is a teacher's biggest responsibility?
Well, it's a very powerful question, and the most difficult task, okay, for any teacher in the world. Well, it's not only for teacher; it's for everybody in the world. Okay, because everyone in their life, at one point or another, they play the role of a teacher. The father plays the role of a teacher in educating the son. The mother plays the role of a teacher in educating the children. Okay, the government plays the role of a teacher in educating the Rakyat. I think it's all about the teacher and the student relationship. The whole world is a student, and the whole world is transforming into half of the world is a teacher and the other half is a student. So whatever job you do, I think this is where the strong point comes in, where you must have it's a matter of heart there. It's a heart-to-heart matter. Okay, you must if you love the students, in return they love you. So and whatever you want to teach them, they can learn faster. Okay, that's why I say, regardless of race, regardless of religion, regardless of language, regardless of skin color, regardless of whatever. So everyone, you treat them as the students, okay, equal. And definitely, I think they will be better students one day, and they will become better teachers one day. They will become better leaders one day, and the world will be a better place to live. I don't have to pray for heaven somewhere. We can create heaven in this earth. A great teacher, I think, will create a heaven in this earth. If all the teachers are great teachers, you don't have to go for heaven after you die. You can bring the heaven to the world.
One can be seen right here.
Right here, that's right. I think that is the responsibility and job of a teacher. Let us create heaven together.
Well, that's all that we have for today. Again, I would like to say thank you so much to Mr. Christopher who has really took the time out of his really hectic schedule to agree to this meeting and also allow us to gain more knowledge from his vast pools of experience. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, my dear student Akashvir Singh and boy
Avinash.
huh?
Avinash.
Avinash. Okay, wonderful. Okay, all the best in your teaching life and okay, wishing you best in becoming a successful teacher and one day lead the world
Right, right.
and create leaders of the world.
Sure thing,
Okay, very good.
Sir, basically just to show our appreciation, we actually brought a little souvenir just to as a form of
Oh,
memorabilia.
I like souvenirs.
You know, sir.
Okay.